This is a really special day because for my whole life, as long as I can remember, I've wanted to see puffins. And so we're out here today on the northern coast of Scotland at a place called Puffin Cove. It's kind of hard to find, but we'll give you some information on how to find it. But we actually did see puffins today. They're right out here. You can see this mound behind us, and there are little holes, little burrows all over the top of that mound. And this is one of the largest puffin colonies in the United Kingdom. So really exciting. We can't get really close to them, but we saw several puffins from a distance. So I'm beyond excited.
And I was just happy to be here with you because for as long as I've known you, you've wanted to see puffins. And it's pretty hard to see from Florida and the Cayman Islands where we live. So, yep, today's the day.
Yeah, it is. It's a little chilly, it's a little windy, but definitely worth it. We are Scott and Cassandra from the United States and Cayman Islands, showing that deep travel connects us with places and people around the world.
We are the Forever Explorers. Puffin Cove is located along the northern coast of the mainland of Scotland, near the border of Caithness County, Scotland's northernmost county. We will take you along on our exciting adventure here, searching for puffins for the very first time, and we'll tell you about all that we learned about how and when to view puffins. Along the way, we'll give you tips on how to have a great puffin experience here, and we'll also tell you about other amazing locations around Scotland where you can find puffins. We started our drive through the Highlands of Scotland near Inverness, driving along A9 all the way to the town of Thurso, which would be about a 2.5-hour drive. It was a beautiful day. There was little traffic and the roads were very well maintained, all making for a very nice drive to the north coast. It was a beautiful scenic drive the entire way as we passed lakes, mountains, wildflowers, coastal areas, sheep and cattle farms. We were also very excited to see little lambs running all over the fields. We made it to Thurso right at lunchtime and had a delicious fresh fish and chips at a restaurant called Why Not, which we would highly recommend. After lunch, we drove west along A836 past the town of Ray, just past the sign that marks the border between Caithness and Sutherland counties. There is a small area on the right side of the road where a few cars can park. Then it is about a 1 kilometer or a 0.6 mile walk to the coast.
The GPS coordinates for the parking area are in the video description. It is easy to find if there are other cars parked here, otherwise you will have to look very carefully for this spot. There is a faint trail leading north to the coast that is not difficult to follow, but the ground is somewhat marshy and it is important to have good waterproof shoes or boots. It is best to stay on the trail as much as possible to avoid stepping in holes and damaging native vegetation. Sometimes it is necessary to walk around parts of the trail though to avoid wet spots. While we are walking toward the coast, let's talk about puffins and some tips that can make for the best puffin viewing experience. Puffins only come to shore to their burrows during the spring and summer, with most arriving by mid-April and then leaving in late July. Some birds will be here slightly before and after that time. During other times of the year, puffins stay out at sea, swimming and feeding. Puffin pairs mate for life, coming together on land every year and laying a single egg in their burrow in late May or June, and the egg hatches in June or July. We are here during the first week of May, and although the puffins have arrived back at their burrows, they do not have eggs to care for yet, and therefore spend most of the day out in the sea fishing. The best times to view puffins this time of year, therefore, are in the early morning or late evening when most are at their burrows. Being our first puffin watching expedition, this was the first lesson that we learned. Because of our long drive from Inverness and the desire to drive during daylight hours, we were here in the middle of the day. We knew that there would be fewer puffins around during the day, but hoped that we would still see some. To see the greatest numbers of active puffins, it's generally best to look for them in June and July, once the chicks, called pufflings, have hatched. During this time, the parents will be frequently going out fishing, and returning with fish in their mouths to feed the chicks.
So it is early in the season, there are no pufflings yet, and it is in the middle of the day. We had all of those factors working against us, but we were here during puffin season, so there's still a chance of seeing them. We continued on. Puffin Cove is an incredibly beautiful place, even without puffins. The cove has a small beach that is protected from waves by a 51-meter high sea stack, which is a small island composed of a vertical column of rock that has lost its connection to the mainland because of erosion. This sea stack, called Westerklet, has also sometimes been called Puffin Island, because this is where most of the puffin burrows are. From the western ridge, we had a spectacular view of the cove, the sea stack, and surrounding geological formations, but we couldn't get close enough to the sea stack to see any puffins. This led us to the next lesson about puffins. They raise only one pufflin each year and want to do everything that they can to protect that one egg and puffling. Therefore, they build their nests in places that are inaccessible to land predators like foxes, weasels, and rats. Islands are often the puffins' first choice, but sometimes they will also build nests on steep cliffs along the mainland. This means that the nests are in places that humans cannot easily get close to. Because of this, the best close-up puffin viewing is typically on small islands that are only reachable by boat. Later in the video, we'll talk about some of these island locations around Scotland.
My goal now was to try to get as close to that sea stack as possible for the best chance of seeing puffins. From reading articles about this place, I knew that it was possible to climb down to the beach to view the underside of the cliffs where some puffins might nest. I also knew that it would be a challenging climb because it is steep, rocky, and muddy, and there is not a clear trail. It was a difficult climb down, with some spots having loose rocks, large steps down, and slippery surfaces. I was very happy to have good quality hiking shoes with excellent traction, otherwise I might not have made it down. I took it slowly and eventually made it, and the reward was an incredibly beautiful view of the cove from the beach. There is a natural sea cave on the left where I could see all the way to the other side of the cliff. This is a beautiful and peaceful place, and during the height of puffling season and puffin activity in June and July, puffins would likely be flying all around here bringing food to their nests. But alas, I still could not find any puffins from down here, even with the large camera zoom lens that I had brought with me. Binoculars would have been better down here for spotting puffins though, and I regretted leaving them up on the top with Cassandra. I stayed down here by myself for several minutes, enjoying the tranquility before climbing back up. I made the long climb back up, hoping that perhaps Cassandra had better luck spotting puffins from up there. As you might expect, the climb up was even more challenging than the climb down to the beach, so I only recommend this to people who are experienced at hiking, climbing, and can handle relatively strenuous activity.
When Scott made it to the top, I excitedly told him that I thought I had seen a puffin on the sea stack. We kept looking with binoculars, walked around to another ridge on the right that was a bit closer, and yes, we could definitely see one. Scott was able to film and photograph one puffin with his 500mm lens, and here's that puffin footage. Scott had difficulty keeping the camera still in the wind, and it was impossible to get a clear shot at this distance, but we could see the puffins well with the binoculars. This was our first time ever seeing and filming a puffin though, so we were pretty excited. Scott still wanted to get a better view and photos of the puffins though, so after spending some time watching this little puffin, he told me that he was going to attempt one more hike to the ridge on the right closest to the sea stack.
To get to the northeasternmost ridge, I had to walk inland a bit to cross the narrowest part of the ravine. Then I had to walk all the way around the widest part of the ravine to get to the viewpoint. It took me a while, but the views all the way around were spectacular, and I had no regrets about coming all the way over here. While I am walking, let's go over a few more tips on how to have a great puffin viewing experience. I mentioned the binoculars. Good quality binoculars are essential. even if you have a zoom lens, because they are best for spotting puffins. Look for the bright white bellies of the puffins near the burrows. That is likely what you will see first. If you are planning photography, bring a large zoom lens, about 400 to 600 millimeters, and a tripod, because the wind makes it difficult to hold the camera still. And we learned that the closest views of the puffins here near their nests are from the right or northeast ridge, where I'm going now. To put into perspective how far I had to go to get to this other ridge, you can see Cassandra all the way over at the ridge we were on when I filmed the first puffin. She was cheering me on from all the way over there and had our two sons on a Zoom call so they could cheer me on as well. As I made my way over to the edge, I could see that I was much closer to the sea stack now and had a perfect view from here. I was so close, in fact, that I could see a puffin with my naked eyes, even without using the binoculars. Finally, I was able to get some beautiful shots of puffins hanging out around their burrows. I needed the tripod and the 500mm zoom lens, but I was so excited to be able to capture some photos of these beautiful little birds.
Puffin Cove is an incredibly beautiful place to visit, and it is very special to be able to hike out here to a place with few people without having to go on a boat and see puffins in their natural nesting habitat. Here it is not possible to get close to the puffins, but we can observe their natural behaviors from a distance in a place where they cannot be disturbed by humans. There are great places all around Scotland where you can find puffins, some of which are shown as flags on this map. Puffin Cove is marked by a heart on the north coast. The best way to get closer to the puffins is to take a boat excursion to one of the many small islands around Scotland that have nesting colonies. For some of these, tickets sell out quickly and must be purchased well in advance of the visit. One of the best places for this is the Isle of May in the Firth of Forth, near Edinburgh. Boat tours leave from Anstruther or North Berwick to take people to this small island during puffin nesting season. We tried to book a trip here this year, but were too late and found many days to be sold out. Another popular puffin viewing location is Lunga, in the Treshnish Isles off the west coast of Scotland, and also the nearby island of Staffa. To reach these islands, ferries leave from the Isle of Mull. These islands are well known for their abundant wildlife, geological formations, and spectacular views.
Heading north along the west coast is Handa Island, a nature preserve that might feel like a wilder experience than some of the other puffin locations. It is also a shorter boat ride, with the small ferries from Tarbet taking only 10 minutes to reach the island. Ferry rides cannot be reserved in advance, are first come first serve, and payment, currently £25 for adults, is only accepted in cash. Farther to the north, there is a large group of islands called the Orkney Archipelago, where there are many locations where puffins can be spotted, including the famous Castle O'Brien sea stack. Even farther to the north, on the Shetland archipelago, is Sumburgh Head, where there is a lighthouse and visitor center and is a popular place for spotting puffins. Both of these northern locations can be reached via ferries from Aberdeen on the east coast or from Thurso in the north. Finally, another popular location on the mainland for puffin watching is Bullers of Buchan at Peterhead, just north of Aberdeen on the east coast. Here there is a large 30-meter deep chasm that is the remnant of a collapsed sea cave where puffins and other seabirds nest along the steep cliffs around the chasm. Thank you for joining us on this exciting puffin adventure. Hopefully all that we learned and have shown you here will help you to have a fantastic puffin adventure of your own in Scotland. Please subscribe to our channel and watch for our upcoming episodes as we take you to other amazing locations around Scotland. During our first visit to this beautiful country, we absolutely fell in love with it, and we can't wait to show you all that we experienced.